Hello Matthew Greenaway, hello everyone, hello Hong Kong, hello 3 a.m. in Asia, well done. Captain Crypto, I will try and do RLC on the end. It's had a bit of a go, it's such a spiky chart that one though, it's so hard to read. So we're just waiting for a few more people to join, and Crypto Tracker, I'll see if I can do BCC on the end as well. So good evening everybody. Thank you for coming. You always get more interest once it's a bullish market, don't you? And hello to everybody who watches this later on Rewind. Thank you very much. Okay, so we'll start very soon. Let's start with Bitcoin. I switched to my Bitfinex chart. I very often, when I'm looking at long range chart, okay, and you want to see what happened in 2014, 2015, or, you know, go to a big monthly chart, so you've got some price history. I really do like the Bitstamp chart, but Bitfinex is all right for price history as well. I just kind of sometimes I think lately Bitfinex has maybe been a bit distorted by FUD, but everything seems to be back and calm again now. So let's start with Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is really big daddy, and I'm going to put my moving averages back on. And since we got above this 200 moving average, we haven't looked back. I'm a big fib person. And whenever I draw a fib, whether it's on an hourly chart, on a short-term basis, or long-term charts, when I put my fibs on, the 236 fib, which you might not get on every fib tool, you know, if you draw a fib like this, and you look at the settings, not all of them have the 236 fib selected. Sometimes you have to choose it or add extra ones. I've customized this, obviously. But for me, the 236 fib is like a touchstone. It's the first retrace level that you kind of come to. And when you want to know if you've drawn your fibs right, so for example, when we were looking down here, the most recent swing lower, the first thing you want to see if you've drawn your fibs right is if you get a reaction at the 236 fib. So for example here, when we did draw it on this most recent 5-way swing, because sometimes you can look at this and you can think, oh, should I have taken that high, or should I have drawn it from this high, or should I have drawn it from this high? And if you draw it, or should I have gone from here? You know, with Bitcoin, this is quite confusing, isn't it? When I draw it from this high though, the Fibonacci retracement tool, and I see that I have this perfect reaction at the 236 fib, that for me validates it. It says, okay, this is the swing that I should be looking at, and now each of the other levels should work. And so we've done that down here with this. I'm going to make them red or something darker so we can see them. There they are. And so this 236 fib did work as really strong resistance. Then the 38.2 was resistance, then support, then the 50% was resistance, and so on. We paused at the 618. We absolutely smashed through the 786, but it was support. And then the 886, we paused at as well. And now we're back at this previous high. But the cool thing about this 886 fib is it lines up at the big daddy fib retrace from the highs. And you just want to know, are we retracing this whole swing, or are we retracing just a more recent swing? And if so, but if we go beyond the 236 from this big swing, for me, we're retracing the entire downtrend. So the downtrend is well and truly over in fib terms. And so today, by trading above this big 236 fib level in Fibonacci terms, we definitely have a bottom. We are not going to see new lows from here until we go considerably higher first, if ever. Okay, so the way we had 1 day's pause at this 236 fib level, and the way they work is sometimes when you get above them, Sometimes you get a little bit of consolidation back and forward, but you want to see them hold as support and then carry on higher. And that's kind of what I feel like we've done here. So, you know, our next fib target, having validated this one, is 9,600. So, got a ways to go. And this, you know, normally when you look at a 1, 2, 3, wave 3, 4, 5 sequence, you would normally say, well, you would expect wave 4 to kind of retrace back to wave 4 of this one. When you get an extended wave 5, when you look at this and you kind of count it, you think, gosh, we could come quite a long way back here. When I look at this and a 236 fib, when we get above it, I'm pretty confident that we won't come back now below 7,200 unless we close the week below it. You know, sometimes weekly closes, you'll go well beyond a level and then close them back underneath. So for now, no, I think we're for sure looking at 9,600. And there's another way in terms of fib rules for me. I'm going to go to a weekly chart. So now we just have to buy pullbacks. I think at this point, if you get a pullback to 7,200, it would be a bit of a gift. And you should watch the level very closely to see if we get support and you can buy against it. And it's crazy after this move that I am as bullish as I am, but you know, it is what it is. The way those fib levels work are like that. Now there's one other way to look at this. So potentially, because I'm always going, well, what if I'm wrong? Where is going to be the trouble? Okay, and so I'm just drawing from these lows down here. For me, you know, fibs are like a staircase level. So when I draw them from the 2014, 2015 lows to the highs, these fib levels work like a staircase. So this 786 fib that we got below at 4,300 here, you can see this was a bit of resistance until we got back above it. And if we're retracing these big swing fib levels, then 7,700 is the next one that we really kind of need to get above. And can you see how this 50% at 10,000 is also another level. But in my fib book, if you reverse at a 786 fib level, which we have here, then your minimum target is the 38.2. So for me, I think that we've got, you know, 9,000 next, but really my target is 12,350 next minimum. And we may extend to 15,200. I can't believe I'm saying these numbers at this point, but because we are a little bit stretched and we are quite a long way from the moving averages. So we are at some point going to see some consolidation and we're going to see some sideways trading. If this was our wave 2, if this is our wave 1, 2, and we're in a big wave 3, then at some point for wave 4, sometimes markets, they don't retrace in price that much, but they do very often the same period in time. And this wave 2 took a month. So when we do eventually pause and we come in for some sideways trading, we can expect it to be sideways and choppy probably for a month. And that's when we're going to get our alt season. And at the moment, you know, we're blasting through levels until Bitcoin starts and pauses and starts doing some sideways trading. Alts are getting absolutely killed. Absolutely killed. Now, we could look at the charts of shorts and longs, and let's face it, the longs were really low. If you look at Bitfinex, who record them, hardly anyone was long, everybody was short. But this kind of movement, you know, when we look at beyond what's going on in the world, and we look at new sanctions on China, and new sanctions on Iran, imagine if you're a trader in China, you like a real trader, like you sell stuff and you're selling stuff that you don't want to have sanctions on. Well, as most traders conducted in US dollar, you're not going to get around the sanctions unless you can transact in a currency that nobody can see, and then you get around the sanctions. So I wouldn't be surprised if some clever people in Iran or China aren't buying large amounts of Bitcoin to get around US sanctions. This kind of move, especially, you know, it's kind of smells like it, but maybe I'm crazy. So there you go. Bitcoin, Agatha says, Bitcoin is pumping while people are stuck with their Bitcoins on Binance. Well, I hope they're not complaining while it's going up like this. So that's how I see Bitcoin. So potentially around the 7,700, M. Cox says, you saw one wave count which called my wave 2 a failed wave, and their wave 1 started on the 7th of February. You know, that would make a lot of sense. And I tell you why. Because this low here, okay, I'm going to go to a weekly chart, okay? If we measure the correction, I tell you why that makes sense to me, because if I measure the correction, I'm just going to go to log scale, actually, that's better. We'll go to log scale. If we measure this correction here, that started in November 2013 to the lows in January 2015, then the low that we made at the end of January to the day was equal in time to this correction. So in time rather than price, this is what I mean. Markets very often correct in time rather than in price. And in time, can't do it in here, but to the day, when I line it up like this, you can see it lines up with that January low. And I actually thought that we would see a new low here. I was banking on this being a new low, a false break new low here at the end of January that I was getting ready to buy. And it didn't make a new low. It's like it got front run. So that actually would make a lot of sense to me, that this is a wave count that starts on the 8th of here, beginning of end of January, beginning of February. So yeah, that does make a lot of sense. KH says, this is the first time we've seen Bitcoin actually act as a non-correlated asset that attracts deposits. Well, KH, you know, this is what I think, this is what I mean about this, you know, the sanctions busting. You know, this is kind of the kind of thing that Bitcoin is perfect for. If you had a factory in China and you were selling stuff that just got slapped a 25% tariff, maybe you're thinking, it's going to be another way here. Anyway, what do I know? Maybe it's the Chinese government. It could certainly be Iran. But anyway, we've got no sign of, in that case, you know, in this wave 1, this is starting to look a bit like the S&P, in which case it's going to be quite hard to count it. But if that's the case, okay, and we're going to count from here. So this was our wave 1 and this is our wave 2. So it's very common for wave 3 to be 1.618 of wave 1. So this would make sense. And this irregular correction then is here as wave 4, and we're in an extended wave 5, right? So potentially, by those rules, we could come all the way back, okay, to these lows. That would be quite a long way. Anyway, let's hide these and go back to the fibs the other way. Because normally, if you get above a 236 fib, normally you don't break it. It holds, it becomes support, very important support. And if our friend is right about this being a wave 2 correction here, wave 4 correction, then we are gonna see from this low to this high a bigger correction, and we may come back under that. So Isma says, is 7,200 a target to rebuy? It is, but I wouldn't buy it blind. I would watch the market come back and see that there are buyers here. But if everybody is short and hoping that we come all the way back, you know, it kind of probably won't. So that's how we're looking. So So if we've got no questions about Bitcoin, so, you know, this is a very strong trend. There is absolutely, I see people shorting this. There is no reason, there has never been a reason on this daily chart to short Bitcoin yet. If you want to get out of Bitcoin, you should be looking for it either to go to dollar or tether or an altcoin. You know, actually selling short Bitcoin in this trend like this, I think is crazy. Personally, I think you can short Bitcoin by shorting it against another altcoin. So this is the day chart for Bitcoin. Yes, this is the day chart for Bitcoin. So short term, okay, so short term, as we said, we've got that level on those other fibs around here, 7,700. And we've got this previous high around here, 7,700. And we know that this high is an important high because when we drew our fibs initially and we watched this climb, this was validated at this 236 fib level. So I'm going to say that this 7,700 level is important, and potentially, having blown everybody out who tried to short at the 236 fib, this may be where we pause and come back and retest this 7,150, 7,200 area. Maybe. But again, I would not sell this short. We're not looking for levels to sell Bitcoin short. We're looking for levels where we might consolidate or pull back and buy some more. Okay, I really, if you want to sell Bitcoin and buy Litecoin, or sell Bitcoin and buy Ethereum, or sell Bitcoin and buy BNB. There are very few coins at the moment that are outperforming Bitcoin. Hardly any. Some of them have okay. Crypto economy, short Bitcoin. Yeah, all of these alts are priced against Bitcoin. Are priced. So you would sell Bitcoin and buy Bitcoin Cash. And when we look at this is Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin chart. Okay, this, is shaping up as a bit of a bottom. We've got a trend reversal in Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin, when we get above sort of 0.052, 0.055. Okay, if we look at our daily moving averages in Bitcoin Cash against Bitcoin, you can see this really nice consolidation holding above the daily 200 moving average. If we can break out at the top side of this congestion zone, then we should see another swing higher, a fifth wave higher. Okay, this would be short Bitcoin against Bitcoin Cash. Okay, rather than naked short Bitcoin against dollar. You just rotate into alts. That's what I mean. So there are a few coins that look like they could be set up when Bitcoin does slow down or does take a pause. There is a few coins that look like they could be setting up to do that. And this Bitcoin Cash is one of them. If we apply the same rule, though, of how long this correction took and how long this correction took, looky here. This says this may be over and we shouldn't see a new low in Bitcoin Cash. We should start the follow-on move. Now, previously, when we've had big rallies in Bitcoin, alts have got completely slaughtered. And what tends to happen, and Matic, I see you asking for Matic. If you look at the list at the top, we're doing Matic at the end. So I'm sorry you're going to have to wait. Okay, what tends to happen after a big Bitcoin rally when it starts to slow down and consolidate is the big cap alts rally next. So ETH rallies next. Litecoin, Ripple, we'll see probably ADA at the moment. Some charts like Monero is doing really well. Monero looking really well set up. So those are the coins that I expect that they're holding up really well at the moment and that I expect them to follow on. Okay, so that's where we are. So let's take a look at some of the others. Now, based on ETH Bitcoin, which I thought was a bullish Gartley pattern around here, I thought that we were going to see another big rally in Ethereum. And we haven't. We've done a much deeper pattern than I was expecting. And now here we are hanging around this 886 fib. No reversal yet, but I expect soon, either from here or at a double bottom level, I expect Ethereum to start to rally against Bitcoin, and I'm looking for another swing higher. If it doesn't, if we make new low and we just carry on, well then, you know, I'm wrong. But when we see this Ethereum Bitcoin previously has been a really good indicator of altcoin rallies. And so when Ethereum is going up against Bitcoin, that's when we see altcoin rallies. So no sign of it at the moment. And I'm watching either for a double bottom or a really nice bullish reversal. Sometimes we've seen it led from Litecoin, and certainly Litecoin is in a much better position if we look at Litecoin Bitcoin than ETH. So what does this mean for ETH dollar? Well, pretty much if you look at all of the altcoins against Bitcoin, they're all going to look like hell, all of them. But if you look at them against the US dollar, you will see that mostly in the crypto space, most stuff is either going sideways in a sideways range, holding its own, so you're not losing money, or it's rallying. So ETH, as far as I'm concerned, is rallying. And when I zoom out, I go to a log scale here in Ethereum, and somebody says, do I prefer log scale? I don't normally prefer log, no, because it's very hard to draw trend lines and things like that. But I do sometimes look at it just to squash everything on the chart or look at the waves. Okay? So when I look at Ethereum US dollar here, from this high to this low, remember that we're looking for back above the 236 fib to confirm that we've reversed. If I put that on first, you can see that in ETH, we've got a ways to go. 399, because we're in log scale. Got a ways to go. 399.55 is where we're gunning for. But one of the other ways that I look at for a trend reversal is normally, very often when you're in a trend, you bounce 50% and then you carry on lower. You kind of do those mean reversion. Here from this most recent swing lower in Ethereum, we bounced twice at the 50% of this last swing, and then we got above it, and now it's support. So, and now we're holding this 200 moving average on the daily and all of these daily moving averages. For me, this is pretty bullish, and so I'm looking for that 399 level, and I'm looking for a strong bullish reversal in Ethereum as well, and I expect it to be the next one to follow on. Is it not a large ascending wedge? It could be. If it is, okay, I'm going to draw this. Okay, for me, if it was, then we've gone beyond the equal measured move level. We had a bit of a stall there. If we are, then 209 and maybe 238, where the second swing is where we'll fail, and around these highs. You know, very often when the first swing does look like an ascending wedge or what do they call it, a leading diagonal, and then once you get above these moving averages, you start to see stronger moves. Whilst it's like this, I agree, and it's choppy and overlapping, to me, this is corrective. So when you see price action like this and they waves go into the previous waves, that's a correction. When we start getting into a trend, which is what I'm looking for Ethereum to do next, we should see much stronger rallies, and then the pullbacks don't come anywhere near the previous one. And then we can say, I think, that we've broken out of that wedge and we're on our way. This, holding these bullish moving averages and more than the 50% of the last swing, to me is looking quite good for Ethereum. Same in ETH. ETH Euro is pretty similar. Let's see. Got my messy chart on here. Need to clean this chart up. So your target your target in ETH Euro, where we'll likely fail. If we're going to fail, I'm going to take this most recent big swing lower here, We'll look for the 236 from this. So 218.70 and this previous high low. 218.70 is my next upside target for Ethereum. But yeah, same thing. I am super bullish. Based on moving averages. And I'm looking for this pattern to start to look more of a impulsive move. Okay. So I'm taking a long time on these and I shouldn't. I'm sorry. So Litecoin. I'm going to go to Litecoin. For every coin that you look at, okay, you should look at it against Bitcoin first. Because for everyone, you say to yourself, should I be in this coin or should I be in Bitcoin? And when we look at Litecoin, you know, we really should be still in Bitcoin at the moment because we haven't got the bullish reversal that we're looking for. But we are at a 618 pullback level. We're waiting for the 200 moving average to catch up. If I put regular candles on, potentially we could do a bit of a double bottom, or we could hold this pretty significant level. We certainly haven't broken it yet. If we do a little false breakdown or a little, I wouldn't be surprised, in other words, to see a little sharp tag of that 200 moving average and then a rally back. And if we did that, then a rally back above that holds the 618 level, I would start looking for a bullish reversal in Litecoin, Bitcoin. But for now, I think you're better off in Bitcoin than Litecoin. But I'm watching for this to turn, and we're at the place where it could be. When I look at Litecoin dollar, of course, and if you love Litecoin, and you're in Litecoin, what's not to love about this chart? This daily chart is super bullish. We've had a big inverted head and shoulders pattern on the daily. Sorry, I'm going to line my chart up. Initially, we started off with a big inverted head and shoulders pattern here on the daily. We're on our way higher. We've had a really nice flag pattern. So here's our flag pole, ABC correction, and a flag pattern, and we're moving higher. So where am I looking for in Litecoin dollar? So you may as well, you're not going to lose money in Litecoin. This is what I mean. And most of these alts, this is true. You're not going to lose money, but you're just better off in Bitcoin. And when they start flipping, so these altcoins are outperforming, then you move out of Bitcoin and into the altcoins. So here, 116.11 in Litecoin dollar is what I'm looking for. And if you're looking for Litecoin euro, that's the next resistance. Then Litecoin euro, we got that same big 236 fib coming up at 97.85. Same pattern, same bullish reversal of our moving averages on the weekly. And we're looking for one more leg higher to 97.85 next. So that's Litecoin. One of the other big coins, two other big coins that I like that are doing really well against Bitcoin are, first off, Monero. I haven't talked about Monero, one of the OGs. Look at this Monero against US dollar. Starting to see, we had a really nice sideways range consolidation, another bullish flag at the 200-day moving average. We broke out of this flag pattern at the weekend, and we're headed higher in a really nice trend in Monero. We're going to zoom out. So there's a fib rule. If you reverse it in 886 fib, your target is back to the 50%. But we'll do it the other way, the old school way, and we'll look for our 236 fib first, and that's 141.98. So Ryan says Monero getting out by finally getting into Exodus. Yes, I agree. Now, one thing we should look out for is this weekly 50 might be a little bit of trouble, and very often it lines up with a 50% level or a fib level. It's not in this case, so I think we're okay. But yeah, Monero all set to go higher, 141.98 against the dollar. But again, if you look at Monero against Bitcoin, let's do that. We're down at all-time lows, tagging all-time lows. So this is what I mean. If you look at your altcoin charts against Bitcoin, you could get all suicidal. I really recommend that you look at them against the US dollar, and you'll see what I mean. So you can get into these alts. You're not going to lose money in this market, but the real money will come when the alts start to outperform. I am just going to look at one more that consistent. It keeps doing this, but it keeps outperforming, and that's BNB coin. So this is my last final pick of all the ones that, and the reason that we're looking at BNB is because if we look at this is one of the few where if you look at BNB against Bitcoin, we are starting to see, let's put regular candles on, signs that we are outperforming. We've got a few green candles. That means that BNB is actually outperforming Bitcoin at the moment and trying to rally from this 382 fib retrace. This is all the way back from the lows here. If I move this up just to this swing, it's also kind of the 50% level around here as well. And so this would be a really cool place for it to rally from. We should, if we can rally from a 50% retrace, usually go 50% the other way. So I'm watching this one. It's not totally inspiring, but a couple of days outperforming Bitcoin in a rally like this is quite something. So I've got my eye on BNB against Bitcoin for an entry. If we look at BNB against the dollar, I'm not going to look at it against Tether because it's all a bit crazy. Then you can see here we are at all-time highs, and testing all-time highs, trying to break out again. So BNB is one I think to keep an eye on. If Bitcoin goes slow down, just because if it's performing like that and you're thinking, oh, look, I think Bitcoin is about to start reversing here. What am I going to put my money in that's safe? BNB looks like one of those really good candidates for that. So that's why I think BNB gets the bids. And where are we going to target? Whenever I see a pattern like this, I put my fibs from this high to this low, and we're looking for 1.618 of this. That's our target. So if we break to new highs, I'll mark the 1272 because it's quite often resistance, but that's where our target is, 40.25 and 32.5 resistance for BNB. Okay, so let's go and do all your requests now. We've got quite a few of them. I missed off. Here we go. So Ripple. So again, every coin we're going to see the same pattern. Ripple, Bitcoin. Bad off from Bitcoin at the moment, but where is that likely to change? I think we have to wait for these lows to get retested. And that's down here at 4,000. I'm just going to zoom out to the weekly because if we break this 4,000 low, remember I put my fib on from this low to this high, I think that we go all the way down to 1905. Now, sometimes you get a stop at a 113 fib extension, but potentially, this is quite a big deal. We really do need this 4,010 area to hold in Ripple Bitcoin. And if it doesn't, we could be in a bit of trouble. If we put fib retraces from this lows to this high, I like to kind of see where stuff lines up, and nothing much is lining up in this case. So I'm just going to leave this at this and say, let's hope that these lows hold in Ripple Bitcoin. If we look at Ripple US dollar, then obviously things are fine. Nobody's losing money. We're bouncing off the lows. We've got this lovely wedge that we retested. And, we're holding support very nicely. Haven't quite broken out yet. No reason to buy it, I don't think, until we do. But certainly we don't look too bad in Ripple. It's just better off in Bitcoin, unless we break out. Now, the high of this triangle that I've drawn here at 0.3538 is also the daily 200 moving average. If you can break above that, then we really should see a decent move, okay, in Ripple dollar. And then I think if Ripple dollar can break out above this 200 moving average and get a load more buyers in, that's when I think perhaps Ripple against Bitcoin will reverse. But watch out, we don't see new lows. That wouldn't be cool. Okay, next one we're going to look at is Neo and then Zenarx. So Neo. I may have missed off Dash. And I did miss off Dash. And I'm going to mention Dash. This is Dash Bitcoin. Previous lows are pretty strong support. And very often what you'll see at previous lows is you'll see a false breakdown. And a false breakdown Sometimes there's a bit of a powerful reversal symbol. At the moment, we haven't got a false breakdown. We've got a lot of stuff getting washed back and forward. But let's put it this way. We're holding up better than a lot of others. So this is a level where I would be watching for a reversal. So far, we haven't got one. And if we draw the 236 in dash from this high to this low, then above 19,530 is where we start saying we can be in an uptrend again. At the moment, we're still sideways. Ryan's saying Bitcoin should correct when Binance comes back online. Yeah, does anybody know what time that is? I don't know what time that's going to happen. ADA, so we'll do ADA after that. I'm going to do ADA next. I'm sorry. I just wanted to say I'm watching Dash Bitcoin at this level. And if we take a look, just like that, there is one cool thing you can say, is that if you're going sideways with Bitcoin, while Bitcoin is on a monster rally, then you'll go, whatever coin you are in is going up as well. So Dash US dollar is going up pretty nicely. Just not as much as Bitcoin. This is the only problem. It's just not going up as much as Bitcoin, but it's going up. So it's held this support from this spike high really nicely, held above the 200 moving average, everything looking pretty good for Dashcoin dollar to go back to the 236 fib. We've tested this once. It's at 172.8. We should go back there on this swing and retest that level. Okay, so that's Dashcoin dollar. Let's carry on, and I'm going to go back now to ADA, and I've gone out of order. I apologize. I really, it's going to be one of those nights where I'm going to say, look, pretty much the same thing about everything. If you look at your coin against Bitcoin, they're not going to look very good. Almost nothing is outperforming Bitcoin. Almost nothing. So we're still headed lower to retest the lows in ADA Bitcoin. We have got underneath our flat 200 moving average. So that, when you have flat daily moving averages, it usually means a range trade. So I would look for really this lows to hold on a retest. If it doesn't hold an 886 fib retrace, it should hold the lows on a retest. At the moment, 959, which is where we're sitting, and retesting is a kind of maybe we could hold it here. But I think if we go down and look at it on a 15 minutes, see what we're doing today, this price action is not very inspiring, is it? It looks like we're going to carry on lower. So we have to wait for a retest of the lows in ADA Bitcoin for ADA to start outperforming Bitcoin. But just like everything else, ADA US dollar, let's take a look and see if we would want to buy that yet. And we'll look at ADA Tether. And I'm going to say, here's a funky thing. So this is a daily chart. When you buy pullbacks, and then you get a rally like this, if your moving averages are the wrong way around, so these here, this pink is a 20 and that's a 50. So if you're bullish, the 20 should be above the 50. Most often, when I see this, we will set up a retest of the lows before we go higher if these moving averages are the wrong way around. So I would not be surprised to see ADA do that or do one more. But I'm wrong, obviously. If we break out or if we close above this daily 50 moving average, then we should carry on and continue higher from here. I'm just going to mark where that 50% level is as well. And definitely above 79.43. So ADA is a little bit choppy, sideways, no trend against the dollar, and still in a downtrend against Bitcoin. So if you've already got some ADA, fine. You're not losing money. If you're waiting to buy ADA, this isn't it. Unfortunately, it's not the sign that we're waiting for. Let's look at it again next week. Okay. I'm trying to get back in order now. Okay, we're going to do NEO and Zenarx. So NEO. Neo's at new lows against Bitcoin again. I'm going to say, so one of my favorite ways to find target levels, okay, fib levels, is to do projections from corrections. So we'll do that here. From this most recent correction. So we had a little bit of a go and trying to hold this 1272 fib support, and we couldn't. So I think Neo Bitcoin is headed to 983. That's the next fib support. So further to fall for me against Bitcoin for Neo. If I zoom out and I take this one away, I'm going to do this big one and look for that 113 and some confluence. Where does everything line up? And you can see that the 113 from this big swing lines up at the same place. So we've got further to fall in Neo. Let's put yeah, I don't like that one. Let's leave it. So again though, that's Neo Bitcoin on a weekly, and we're looking for 983. But if you're long Neo already, if you're holding some, so this isn't a good time to buy Neo dollar, but if you're holding some, and we look at it against the dollar, you're not losing money. In fact, it's going up. So no worries, really, is there? It's just not going up as much as Bitcoin. So our weekly chart looks good. Our daily chart looks like we're finally turning up again. And yeah, so you're fine. But we just have to wait. Now, what we'll say we've bottomed here. You know, the simplest way you can look at trend is a downtrend is lower highs and lower lows. And an uptrend is higher highs and higher lows. If we can take out this previous high that I've marked in pink at 1080 in Neo US dollar, we are then in an uptrend and not in a downtrend. And it's as simple as that. So that's the level I'm really looking for to confirm that we're going up again in Neo dollar. Okay. Ryan wants to see that one die. Okay. Okay. So that's where we are with Neo. Zenarx. Ox. Now I've got my tether chart on here because this is doing what I think is a pretty good job of bottoming in US dollar, holding pretty nicely and forming what I think on a lower time frame is going to end up being hopefully an inverted head and shoulders pattern. The problem with it at the moment is it's not very balanced. The best ones have symmetry from the left shoulder and the right shoulder. So to do that here, we would need another kind of thing like this, and then we would maybe have similar size. If we don't do it like that and we say, okay, we'll just use the horizontal resistance on the daily, then when we look at where these highest closes are, or these highs on the left here, this is what we've got to get above or close above if we're going to go higher. That's the level we've got to close above. And it's 0.29. Let me see what that high is. 0.2916. So if we can get above 0.2916, we're out of trouble in ZRX Tether, and that's where the 4-hour 200 moving average is. So nothing to do really, if it's not got a setup long against the US dollar, it's not going to look good against Bitcoin, is it? So that's where I would put my alarm on this dollar chart, even if I'm trading it against Bitcoin. So when I look at ZRX against Bitcoin, we're still headed lower, and we zoom out, see where we might find a bottom. We put our fibs this way. We've gone. We didn't stop at the 61.8. Well, so we might stop next at the 886. 3519. We're nearly there. Not quite, but nearly. So a little bit lower. See if we can maybe find some support at 3519 in ZRX. Otherwise, just leave it. It's not, stay in Bitcoin. Next one we're going to look at is Waves. Okay. Now I did all my best magic, lined everything up, and said, you know, this was probably the support zone for waves, and we've blown straight through it. So nothing much we can do here. I'm going to see where the ABC equal measure move is. We've gone through that, so nothing. I think we're setting up, I'm afraid, a retest of the lows against Bitcoin in waves, and there's nothing to do really until we get there. If we zoom out on the weekly, we could actually go a little bit lower than this. So let's go like that. Yeah. Now, on this weekly chart, see how the moving averages are flat? This means it's a range trade. You know, there's no trend. We're going sideways. So this double bottom at the lows likely will attract some buyers, and we'll see what happens there. But there's no reason to want to try and buy it until we get there, and that's at 23,530 on the weekly. 23,530 now that we've lost this kind of 886 level. Damn, that was quite a good level. So we'd spent, you know, when you spend a week sitting on top of a level, you think, oh, we've got a good chance that we're going to break higher instead of lower. But in this one today, this move in Bitcoin has literally killed stuff. So waves dollar, let's see if we've got any more hope in that one, or waves tether. I haven't looked at this one for a while. Let's do it. Don't always look at it against tether, I have to be honest. On the daily, we're stuck at this daily 50 moving average, and we're stuck at, I think, maybe, yeah, 50% back. So, and waves tether, this 50% level, which is quite a strong pivot level if we look left, is where we've got stuck. So you can see here, look, lows, 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 high. So not just the daily 50 moving average, but the mid range. So we've got a big sideways range, look, lows, highs, and we're in the middle of it in waves dollar. And whilst we're in the bottom half, it's not looking good. We could retest the lows. One of the rules about a 50% retrace is it usually gives you a 50% going the other way. So if we measure 50% from this low, we could be looking in waves dollar to come back to 2.25 and those previous highs. So I wouldn't be in waves, and I'd be looking to exit waves if I held any, and this isn't a good place to buy it, no. Sorry. Okay. Now, when would I buy waves? I think the meat in the sandwich is if we get above this pivot level in the middle, and if we can close above this daily 50. So if we can close above 2.55, then your trade is from 2.55 or 2.6 all the way up to 3.2 and the top of the range again. But otherwise, the risk is that we come back to 2.25 before we can do it again. So there we go. That's waves. Next one we're going to look at is ETC, Ethereum Classic. I did get quite excited about Ethereum Classic for a bit, but it keeps breaking my heart and carrying on lower. So we're going to take away these and see where we're going. Now, this was a 1.13 fib. I'm going to hide that fib, and we'll do that from here instead. So we'll do that ABC. So potentially, we've reached a potential Fibonacci support level here at 805. If it doesn't hold, or if we see a daily close below 805, which is looking like, then we're headed to 600. I'm wrong if we get back above this level. That's how these fib levels work. So if we go down a little bit and have a bearish close down here, and then Binance open in 2 days, and we get back above this level, I would say, okay, I'm bullish again. And it was just Binance. But otherwise, I think that we're headed to 600 in Ethereum Classic against Bitcoin. Now, does that mean it's the end of the world against US dollar in fiat terms? No, this is just like another one of those really good, like if you were just looking at everything in crypto, is going up. This one is just not going up as much as Bitcoin, because this to me is a good looking chart. You know, when you get above the 200 moving average and you come back and you find some support, and here I see this as an continuation inverted head and shoulders pattern here. So if we break this to the upside, you know, we're on our way up again. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder. It's just that Bitcoin is outperforming. Oh, Stratis. Stratis is one of my worst trades from like 2 years ago. So, you know, I bet everyone's got a pet coin that they don't trade very well. Okay, Stratis is my pet coin that I don't trade very well. So, I know what you mean. So this is where I see Ethereum Classic. In dollar terms, you're fine. Everything's, you know, you're not losing money, but you would be making more money in Bitcoin at the moment until this reverses. No reversal yet. So we're going to look at XLM, which is Lumen. Lumen is determined to die. That's the way I see this, determined to die. I had some hope at the 786 fib. I had some hope at the 886 fib here, and we didn't. We kind of stopped for how many days? This is how they suck you in. 3 days of pause at this fib level, and you think, oh yeah, I can buy this. Look, it's holding. And then today we get completely crushed again. So I'm afraid I think Lumen is another one headed back to retest the all-time lows against Bitcoin. So nothing to do until we get there. There is kind of a 942. I'm not a big fan of 942, but sometimes a 942 retrace. But I'm going to say I think we should leave it and wait in Lumen. Bitcoin is massively outperforming. But if you've got a bag and you're waiting for it to come back, you know, the chart has some positives. I have to say, I don't like it and against the US dollar either at the moment. Okay, so let's look at it this way. We're back underneath our daily moving averages. We've got resistance from them. So we're back in a downtrend, even against the dollar. And if we take this swing here, yeah, 3 waves down, you know, it's not convincing. I think that we could maybe, yeah, 236, okay. If Lumen got back above this daily 50 moving average and this 50% level in the middle here, then I think we'll see another leg higher. But that's major resistance, 0.1104. So if it doesn't and it carries on lower tomorrow, I think you're better off in something else than Lumen, unfortunately. And so there's no signal to buy for me either. I think we could, let's do it. Sometimes an early warning, you know, I think we will rally back to this 50% level. And one of the reasons is, you know, if you can draw it as a channel, which we can, here we've got a parallel channel. As soon as you break out of that parallel channel, you should be in a new sequence. And that looks like what we've done here in XLM against the dollar. And so we should look at, for at least, you know, this next leg to be 618 of the first leg, but it's not convincing yet. Let's put it this way. Okay. Ryan Edwards says, you're glad you came to the show. It helped you convince. Well, yeah, I think that, you know, I think that soon you could start moving out, you know. Let's see. QTUM, when a market's like this, you almost feel like you can't miss a day because everything is happening, you know, and you don't want to miss it. So QTUM, here's another one that had really good sideways consolidation going on. And I thought that this was a lovely inverted head and shoulders pattern. But this QTUM Bitcoin was a complete bastard, really. If you think that this is left shoulder, head, right shoulder, and your target for an inverted head and shoulders pattern is twice the distance from the head to the neckline. So that, okay, well, up here was our target. Well, if you hadn't left an order to sell it there, we went all the way up, broke out, went all the way up, and came all the way back the same day. So we hit the target for our inverted head and shoulders pattern and reversed just as fast. And now we're on our way lower. We had a little bit of a cursory attempt to rally from here and no banana. So now we're carrying on lower. So if I put my, now potentially there's some fib support here at 29,000 to bounce from. But if I zoom out here and I do the fib projections from this swing, everything lines up a little bit lower where that 1.6, where that 1618 is. So potentially that's 9,000. It's quite a long way lower. So QTUM Bitcoin at the moment, I don't really see any reason to be in QTUM. I would rather be in Bitcoin. However, if you are in QTUM, you're better off in QTUM than in Tether. Let's put it that way, because you know what would this is what I mean. You know, we talked earlier about the moving averages being the wrong way round. Okay, let me just hide this 200. Okay, this is what you often see. So you do a nice ABC correction, an equal measured move, and you rally, and you get to the daily moving averages and they're the wrong way around. When you see them the wrong way around like that, you very often get this double bottom setup. Now we've done our double bottom and we've got a sideways range going on here in QTUM, Tether. So we've got the double bottom, and if we're going to go higher, we have to break the high in the middle, which gives us twice that range, and double bottom confirmation level. So our first target is back to the top of the range at 2.82. If we break out above there, we're going to be bullish when we've got this sideways range. And if we break down the lows and make new lows, we're bears, because we've got a bearish cross of our daily moving average. And then it won't be sideways anymore. Once we break down, it'll start to pull apart and get quite bearish. So we'll retest the lows. So that's where we are, sideways in the middle. Watch out for a breakout either way. And let's see. Not really a trend. So, you know, this is not one of the ones where it looks really good yet against the US dollar, but it would look really good if above 2.8 in QTUM. Oh gosh, my voice is getting really low. Everyone's going to think I'm a man. Better carry on. Okay, that's QTUM. Okay, we're going to look at LBC. Let me see where LBC is. Can't remember. Library credits. This is such an old school coin, isn't it? Library credits. And dang, another one. This one, I thought this was building a really good base in library credits. So I'm really disappointed with what's happened today, because we've basically spent 6 months at the same price against Bitcoin here. Look, making this really lovely rounded bottom. I don't know how many times I've looked at this inverted head and shoulders pattern, but really we failed at the neckline here in library credits, and so we're headed lower. So there's nothing to do, and this bullish setup is broken. So let's project where we're going to get to and where we could buy this next. So 393 may be support, otherwise it's 258, and you're still better off in Bitcoin. Unfortunately, I haven't done that quite right. There we go. 378 may be support, otherwise it's 224 next. So let's look at LBC US dollar. Now, see, it's not so bad here. You're not losing money, but you aren't making any. We're just doing nothing. I as a setup, if I saw this, I would be getting excited, because this is, to me, you know, we're holding above this 200 moving average. We're off the lows. We're trying to make a higher low and you know, I think it looks all right, but you are better off in Bitcoin at the moment. Leon says there's no other token out here that offers the utility of Ripple. Right. But there's a lot of drawbacks with Ripple. Like, it's not, you know, decentralized or anything like that, is it? Let's be honest. Okay, let's look at TRX next. I'm not going to get into crypto politics, but my problem with Ripple is I think Ripple, the company, is doing great things. Does that mean that Ripple, the token, is great? That's the thing, you know? Are the banks going to use your tokens? Okay, so in Tron, TRX against Bitcoin. Solid downtrend still. Not at a level where I think that we can, you know, buy it yet, even. I think that we're still headed lower in a big kind of wedge pattern and declining wedge. And you just, sometimes this works. Let's see. Further to fall. I got quite excited about Tron earlier because I thought we'd made an equal measured move. I thought everything was looking quite good for this to be corrective and another wave higher. Let me explain what I mean here. So in Tron, let's go back to the daily, in fact. So from this high here, if we look at this as the first swing lower, and then I measured from here, and I thought we'd found some good support, and then I thought, oh, we're looking quite good at the daily moving average here. This was really good price action, but we just couldn't break out. We couldn't get going underneath, and we've just kind of been dying quietly ever since. So you're better off in Bitcoin. Like, it's a downtrend. TRX US dollar, though, is one of those ones where, or certainly it was before, where it looked like we had a really good setup. So this was a setup that I liked as a head and shoulders pattern. The problem is that we should have broken out here, and we don't really have any symmetry now. If we say that this was how big our left shoulder is, remember the best head and shoulders patterns are kind of symmetrical. So if we say this is how big our, you know, left shoulder is, and look how long our right shoulder's gone on. So it's not really anymore a head and shoulders pattern. What it is a second failure at this 236 fib, and we couldn't get above it. So if we rally again from this tight little consolidation zone that we're in, our target is going to be to break this 236 fib at 32,177. That's the level we got to get above. It's where we keep failing. And if we zoom out, log scale, all the way from the highs in May 2018, that's the 236 fib level where we're stuck. So, you know, relax. If you're in this, you're not losing money, but you could be making money in Bitcoin. EOS is moving, is it? We'll have a look at EOS in a minute. We're going to look at V-Chain next, and then EOS. So here's V-Chain. This is V-Chain against Bitcoin. Another one that's in a death dive. Okay, we rallied off the lows. Couldn't get beyond the 236 fib. And here we are at new lows. So I'm going to take that away, and we're going to try a projection this way, and we've broken this 1272 fib, so I think we should look lower from here. And V-Chain against Bitcoin potentially is headed to 67, which is really ugly. 67. So if you're holding this is another 20% lower. You should say to yourself, well, maybe I'm going to be better off in something else. If you really don't want to buy Bitcoin this high, maybe something else. Let's take a look at V-Chain dollar. Yeah, it's not dire, is it? But it's not pretty either. We found support at the 50% back. So from this low to the high, the 50% is where we've stopped for now. That's quite positive because that's quite a common place for incorrections. And we're holding the 200 moving average. But if you're holding on to V-Chain, if you've got a bag of it, if we're underneath 564,800 against the dollar, I would dump it. Really, please go into something else. This could go all the way back to the lows, and if not new lows. That's the death signal. Now, if we don't, and if we hold on and we rally from here, happy days. What's going to say, though, that we've bottomed here? I'm going to say the 236 fib. So from this low to the high, we're above it. So let's see. Of course, we've got log chain on, haven't we? Log scale. Let's see if we can break above these daily moving averages and get a little bit higher. Let's see. This does have a bit of a lick of a bull flag, but we're underneath this high. So it's not compelling. If we can break this trend line and this daily 50 moving average, so maybe above 681,000, then that's what we'll see. Forex Trade Africa says, Bitcoin will never respect structure. Don't beg. Okay. I won't beg. EOS. Let's take a look at EOS. EOS isn't my favorite coin, but now let's EOS Bitcoin. These moving averages are flat, so this is a little bit of a range trade. Let's take a look at the weekly chart for some bigger perspective here in EOS, because really we're faffing about here in the middle. And this 618 back, this for me kind of is the last line. Do you see how there's quite a strong support and resistance level through here? So from these lows, I think it comes from here actually, but these lows and these highs, you really don't want to be back underneath there or more than 618 back. You know, we want to see these lows hold, I think, or it really is going to be time to get out of EOS. And maybe if you really can't bear Bitcoin, then go to Tether. So if these previous lows don't hold at this 618 level, it's time to get out. You know, between a 618 and if we draw fibs from this low to this high, between the 61.8 and the 38.2 is the golden ratio zone. It's where markets like to consolidate, okay? And you can very often see them go back and forward in this zone. But the 50% level in the middle is like the pivot level. And it's very often a strong support and resistance level. And here in EOS, that is true. We can see going all the way back. If we go all the way back here, you can see these lows, 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 a strong support and resistance level. So here, and this 200 moving average. So that was the resistance we couldn't get above. For me, unless EOS gets back above this level and back above this 200 moving average, you really don't want to be in it in EOS Bitcoin. Okay, you want to be in Bitcoin. Let's see EOS dollar though, because it's not all bad. In fact, EOS, you know, you're not losing money. That's all, because EOS dollar is going up. So in EOS dollar, we've got a really nice pattern going on here, and our 236 fib target is 6.619. So you can make money in EOS, but you could make more money in Bitcoin. That's all that's going on. Isma says, I'm going to talk like a Ripple fan. EOS should be at $100 by Saturday. Okay. Why not? Okay, so against the dollar, we're going higher. It's looking fine, isn't it? We've got our 236 fib from the highs. That's where we're going to look for it to go next. It's a pretty good support and resistance level as well. And so I'm holding out for that level. But it is quite choppy and overlapping. And I think if we fall back, or see how each time we've pulled back, this 50 moving average has worked like a backstop and caught us. And we've got a bit of a double bottom going on here. I think if we fall back below here again, really, if you've got a bag full of EOS, that would be your sign to get rid of it. If we are just making a pennant or a triangle consolidation here, because we've had 3 days where we haven't been able to make new highs. If this is what's going on here, and we don't, and instead we drop to the downside, I would get out, because we're probably coming back to this 200 moving average, and if that falls, you know, not an uptrend anymore. So there we go. EOS, not convincing. We're sideways against the dollar, and we're not doing well against Bitcoin. Basic attention token, I've got this against the US dollar. I like this one. I think we've got some potential here. Why do I like this one? Well, I like this. This is basic attention against Tether. I like this because we're holding above all of our daily moving averages. We're sitting on the 20 moving average. We've had a really big bullish reversal. We're wrong if we go back below this 236, but I don't see us coming back there. We've paused here at 50%. We've come back 50% going the other way, I think. If we haven't, yeah, exactly 50% the other way. So we're in sideways bullish consolidation while we're holding above these moving averages, and should continue higher. If we look at this hourly, you know, we're holding this hourly moving average chart, and I think we're getting set to see another swing higher. So basic attention token, you're making money in. Is it outperforming Bitcoin though? Let's go and take a look. No, we're almost back at the lows. Basic attention token against Bitcoin. Now, this 200 moving average though, we could hold support. Now, if this is one of the ones, if I was going to make a short list of what I want to rotate money into, whilst basic attention token against Bitcoin is holding above the 200 moving average, this would be one that would be right up there on my list. So yeah, like this much better than some of the others. If we look at this and this lovely pattern that we made, this bullish pattern, how much have we retraced from the lows? We're kind of around this 50%, you know. Let's see where the 61.8 comes in. So this chart, you know, is in much better chart shape than some of the others against Bitcoin. Let's put it this way. So if Bitcoin takes a breather, basic attention token could be one of those ones that benefits from the turn. So one to keep on your list. Not a setup right now, but one to watch. So the next one we're going to look at is Link. Let's see Link. Can we horror show this one? Was quite bullish Link. This is why I've got all this scrawling on my chart. One of the reasons I was quite bullish in Link, same as basic attention token really, is we were trying to hold the 200 moving average against Bitcoin. We'd been in a really nice bullish trend, and what I saw was this as an ABC correction. So that means that this swing lower and this ABC were equal, and we double bottomed here. So I think that if we can hold this level on a retest, then potentially this is really good support for Chainlink. If it doesn't, then we're in a bigger corrective pattern and we've lost the daily 200 moving average and we're looking for a bigger pullback. So Link, Bitcoin on a retest of these lows, if it holds, is really good, in good shape. So Link and basic attention token are two where, you know, we should add them to the ones that go after the majors, you know, and holding up really well. So that's Link Bitcoin. Let's see Link US dollar before we carry on, or Link Tether. Look at this, right up there, holding at highs. Now this 618, when you do fib projections, so I did this from the first swing, from the high to the low, okay? This first rally went to the 1.13. We blew through the 1272, and the 1.618 extension is where we paused. So now we know if we get a daily close above this 1.618 level in Link, the 2.618 level is our next target, and that's at 0.9138. And support, because this is like a staircase, if you like. So our support is at 0.624, and potentially 0.59 in these previous highs. So this isn't a really solid uptrend, Link against Tether, and potentially we've made an ABC correction in Link Bitcoin. So Link and Basic Attention Token would both be on my list of ones to look into rotating into if Bitcoin starts to pause and I want to take some profit in my Bitcoin. So, okay, so let's look at the next one, which is KNC. I haven't looked at KNC for a while. Let's see if we're doing anything interesting. Kyber Network. New lows for Kyber Network. Let's clean up this messy chart here and see what's going on. So in this one, let's zoom out here. Now, I've got my fibs like this because I thought this was a big ABC, but most people would draw them like this. That doesn't work though. I'm going to leave that for now, but let's draw new ones and see where these new lows are likely to take us. So we're going to take this most recent correction, see where we line up. Nowhere useful, unfortunately. We're going to run out of numbers that are positive with this one. Yay. So maybe 2,100, 2,300 in Kyber Network. But this move to new lows is you're better off in Bitcoin in this one, unfortunately. Let's see if KNC charted against US dollar gives us any more hope. Yeah, we should look for a retest of the lows. In this one, it's coming all the way back. That's fine. So we have to wait and see. This failure in Kyber Network against the US dollar, and I'm going to put Heikenhashi on because it's so spiky. This failure at the 200-day moving average, every time we've tried to get it back above it, and this bearish cross again of our daily moving averages, even though we look like we're trying to rally here, for me, I would not be in this coin. I would get out of it. And I would only look at it if we got not only a daily close above this 200 moving average, but I'd want to see it hold on a retest and then carry on higher and make a new high. And then I would buy it, because for now, for me, this is not, this is still a downtrend and a really solid downtrend. So, meat fish, no way. Okay, let's look for some hope. Let's try and find some hopium in this chart. No way. Oh, I hate that. Sometimes you have an account you forget about and it's just dire. Okay, let's see. Well, we are at a 786 fib. If we reverse here, if we reverse off this 786 fib, our target will be back to these horizontal highs here at the 38.2. That would be good if we go back there, because then on a pullback, we'd be looking for the daily moving averages in the middle to then be support if we're going to carry on higher. So then we'd be looking for this. Let's see. Okay. Otherwise, look, flat, bunched up moving averages means there's no trend. There's a sideways trend. So there's no trend against the US dollar, and we're in a death dive against Bitcoin. So kind of KNC, no reason to buy this yet at all, unless we break out of this sideways range. Sorry, not better news than that one. Okay, let's look at ONT, see if we've got any ray of joy here. There is a kind of ray of joy because 4 days holding, I know we've seen this a lot, but 4 days holding this 886 fib is kind of positive. It's kind of not, normally I'd say not, but in the face of what Bitcoin's done today, and every other altcoin has broken down and made it to new lows, and the fact that Ontology hasn't and is holding this support gives me a little bit of hope. And the good news about a reversal from an 886 fib is your target is the 50%. So our target, if we can break out higher here in Ontology against Bitcoin, is 422. And how will we know that we are for sure going higher? Remember, fibs are like a bit of a staircase. So 1812, the level that we broke down, if we get back above that, we are going. So the meat in our sandwich, our proper trade here, if you like, is breaking out of this sideways range and then back to that daily 50. So like that's our trade. So above, let's say 1820, and then our target is 2400. So this one is a maybe, but not unless we get going. But this is a good sign, the way that we've held this support here in Ontology against Bitcoin in the face of the rally in Bitcoin today. That says that if we look at Ontology against US dollar, it should be flying. And it is flying. Very good. Double bottom. We just broke the heart. Let's put regular candles on. Oops, I'm making a mess. So if this is a little double bottom here, which we've got a double bottom at the 200-day moving average here in Ontology, and we've just broken the middle, so the confirmation level of our double bottom. So we should go twice this distance. So you shouldn't, if you buy this, have a big loser. So this looks like a nice bullish reversal. If we close back underneath this level, it won't be so bullish. We do really need to close above this horizontal level tonight. But if we do, then Ontology looks nice against the US dollar, really nice. So the next one is FET Fetch. Daily chart. Now, looky here. So a little bit of a bounce, not quite the death dive that everything else has been in. Had a bad day, but we're not at new lows in Fetch. So are we starting a new uptrend? Not quite yet, but we're going to take this as our most recent swing lower. So when we do that, we put our 236 fib on. And we can say that we've started to go higher if we can get above this level here, which is 2157. That's a ways away, isn't it? Now, haven't managed to even reverse the hourly trend or get above the 200 moving average. So we need to wait and see what happens on a retest of the lows. But yeah, if we did that in a nice double bottom and started to turn the trend around, maybe. So Fetch Bitcoin, still better off in Bitcoin for now. But pretty much every coin, you can check against the US dollar. You can see if you're losing money or not. On the daily here, this is resistance, this daily 20 moving average. And if I put that on, that'll be the 236 fib. So we'd need a daily close above 0.1256 to be getting bullish Fetch against Tether. Otherwise, we're looking for now a pullback and a higher low or a double bottom for a bottom here. So let's see. Okay, we might just do a little head and shoulders pattern anyway, but a daily close above 1256 and you should be flying in FET US dollar. But not yet, is it? Not yet. Nearly. Poly is next. So I haven't explained, I don't think I've explained that one very well. So would you buy this here? No, probably not. I'm probably looking for another bigger ABC correction. So we're going to go A through. Remember, corrections are normally 3 waves. Maybe we'll hold this 200 moving average. Maybe we won't come back too far. But then back above this horizontal resistance level would be what I'm looking for. But this time, when we get above it, in order to buy it, you want to see it get above it and then hold above it. So you watched it and it goes above it, and then when it pulls back and finds support there, that's when you want to buy it. So we're not quite there yet in Fetch, unfortunately. Poly, let's see what Poly's doing. Now we're looking at Poly because Poly's had really good volume. A bit of a volume alert in Polymath. Gosh, and had a really nice pump, didn't it? But didn't quite. Now, this spike low, I've got my fibs on from this. So this is like the most recent swing lower. And I had it on here because the levels were kind of working. And it is kind of weird because when we look at where we rallied to today and failed, and I'm just going to make sure I've got it on right, it was this 236 fib level again. So that's quite useful because that tells us now that this 1699 level is what we have to beat to turn this trend around. So we had a big pump and then a big profit taking, and it's all come all the way back again. So no trend reversal yet for Poly Bitcoin. We're back at the lows though in a sideways range. We've got flat moving averages. So potentially no reason why the buyers shouldn't come out again. But I think if we lose this level, if we get underneath and we find resistance, then we're headed back lower. No reason to buy Polymath unless that happens. Let's take a look at what this today looked like on against the dollar. Yikes, a really nice rally and then all the way back again. So against the US dollar, although we've got some bullish candles going on and it's, you know, a pretty good level, it's not quite enough, is it, to make us want to buy it even against the dollar yet, is it? So if we look at this resistance, we really kind of need to get, a close above 0.09 maybe, or let's stick for the 236 fib retrace level, which is a little bit lower. That would be a better confirmation. Above 0.09417. A daily close above there would be a bullish signal for Poly US dollar. So Poly Bitcoin, Poly US dollar, not quite yet, but a US dollar close above 0.09417 would probably say we're on our way up again, back to the top of the range. So yeah, let's chuck that volume on. Yeah, this was a big volume spike. They did it here though, look, and it came all the way back again. So unfortunately, okay, next Zenarx. Somebody's screaming. Let's see what Zenarx is doing. Is Zenarx doing something? No. Okay. Trying. Okay. So that's Poly. Let's look at Theta and then Matic. So Theta, it's carnage and so much. And the carnage is just Bitcoin. It's just Bitcoin on the rampage. Look, we pushed this horizontal resistance level. We just pushed through this in the last hour like it wasn't there. So up we go again. Had a little cluster of consolidation here. And it looks like we're trying to go higher. Let's see this. Relentless, isn't it? Really do need a new high though, if we're going to go higher for sure. we really do need a new high. Okay, so we're looking at Theta and then Matic. So where was I? I'm losing it. I'm going to try and keep it together. Here we go. Theta. Oh. No reason to love this yet, or no reason for a reversal on the daily. All that volume going nowhere. So the next one we're going to look at, we've done Theta, I think, haven't? No, Theta. Sorry, I haven't done Theta. I'm losing control. Okay. Now this one obviously had a really nice, another one that had a bit of a pump earlier today, and looked like it might be going somewhere. Couldn't get above the hourly 200 moving average. And look how this hourly 200 moving average, ever since we got underneath it, has been resistance. So here we tried back on the 20th of April, couldn't get above it. We tried here on the 2nd of May, couldn't get above it. And we've tried here again. So first thing, just this hourly 20 moving average, that would say maybe we're going up again, or for sure. But we've flattened out now, which tends to happen at the end of trends. So first, the market has three directions: up, down, and sideways. When it's going up, it's easy, you buy pullbacks. When it's going down, you sell rallies. But when it goes sideways, that's when we get all those interesting patterns that everybody talks about: double bottoms and triangles and head and shoulders and blah, blah, blah. They are all the patterns that occur when the market goes in that third direction, which is sideways. And so this one is flat, and you can see it easily on a chart with flat moving averages. So Theta Bitcoin here is sideways. It's at the lows. Okay, if you've got a bag of this and we're at the lows, you don't really want to see new lows, but I'm not a fan of selling the lows. So, you know, let's see what the fib level says. No. It's a lot of, if we look in terms of horizontal support, there's quite a lot around here. So lots of reasons why we might hold on, just can't quite see it yet, you know. So in Theta Bitcoin, no reason to buy it. Let's see Theta dollar. And if we've got a reason to buy it here. Because this looks pretty nice, doesn't it? Now let's take that away, Here we are back at the daily 20 moving average, a close above this, and we should see some really good moves. 382 fib here. Now we're above this 236 fib. This is very good news because this now says that we should have support here on pullbacks in Theta Tether. So we're going to look for 0.09149. We'll draw it like this. Anyway, 0.9149 to be support on pullbacks tomorrow, and we shouldn't go back below that, and we should look for support here if we're going to carry on and rally in Theta Tether. So an ABC correction, something like that would be nice. So if this is the first, so you're looking ABC, three waves, and you can measure them. Here's the first one from that low, second one. So here we've done it potentially, and we should be looking for us to start turning higher if we're going to, and we're wrong, back below 91.49. So there we go. That's Theta dollar. Maybe pretty good base looking here, but not against Bitcoin yet, unfortunately. So you're not going to lose money. You're going to make money in Theta, but you could make more money in Bitcoin. And finally, Matic. I had a lot of trouble with this chart. I put my hourly chart on and I went all the way around. And sometimes, you know, with these spikes, when a coin launches like this, sometimes it pays to ignore the spike like this and just say, you know, when they first launch, they form a kind of range. So this is the high of our range, and this is the low of our range. We've got a double bottom. So when this market drifted all the way down, where did the buyers come out? Here, at the bottom of the range. And where did they take profit? At the top of this range. So we're going to waft around, I think, in this sideways range for a bit in Matic. until we find our feet. And it's unfortunately a really big range. We go from 50 to 120. So that's quite a big deal. 50% very often, we'll draw the fibs like this. 50% of this. If it's going to be quite bullish, 84 might be where we see buyers. So 84. But yeah, otherwise, not really. I think it's too soon for this one. And we've seen quite a lot of profit taking here. So I would be a little bit cautious at the moment. Now, how do we know if the trend's reversed? For me, I think we have reversed the trend and we're going to see another swing lower because we went more than this 236 fib. So if I go down to a 15-minute, which I, going to be looking for a bigger ABC correction before we go higher again. Okay? Crypto Tracker says, given the current volatility, what's the case for straddling Bitcoin options as a value play? I think it's a very good idea. But, I think just buying Bitcoins on pullbacks and putting them in cold storage is a good idea now as well. Now we're properly in an uptrend. So, and, I think that kind of options trading, and I think that I really do think short, unless you have a whole bunch of, if you have a whole bunch of Bitcoins in cold storage that you don't want to take out that you've had forever, and you hedge on pullbacks, in other words, you sell an equal amount using leverage at an exchange in pullbacks, there's no reason to be shorting Bitcoin now. I think if Bitcoin stops going up, you need to take your money out of Bitcoin and put it into something that's going to turn and go up instead. Now, there's a couple I got asked to look at. RLC is one that we're going to take a look at because RLC has been doing all right, but it's so spiky. I find this really hard to trade. It's in percentage terms. This coin is doing okay, but where is it? RLC, here it is. So RLC against Bitcoin. If we look at this coin against Bitcoin, this isn't doing too badly at all, is it? We're pretty okay and sideways against Bitcoin. I've got my Heiken-Ashi on in a sideways range, but we're certainly not getting killed. So the good news about that for RLC is when you're going sideways against Bitcoin and Bitcoin's on an absolute ripper, you're making a ton of money. So an RLC Bitcoin, not only that, is holding above its 200-day moving average. That's quite something in this market. So RLC is outperforming, but these spikes are crazy. Where do they go every time though? So if you buy some, if you say, you know what, I'm going to have a little lottery ticket. I think I'll buy a little RLC here against Bitcoin. Every time we get to 50% of this high to the low at 79,000, people take profit and it comes back again. So this is kind of where your target should be. But every time we pop out of this sideways highest close range, that's where we go. So RLC Bitcoin, quite hard to buy this, isn't it? Spiky beast that it is. Now, if we put some Heiken-Ashi on though, and we look at this, we can see it's a little bit easier. Each time we dip to the bottom and we turn up again, use this, we could maybe get in and we can see where our kind of mid-ranges are. But it really is a bit of a lottery ticket. You wouldn't want to risk too much on this one. So RLC against Bitcoin looks okay, looks fine. Holds above the 200 moving average. RLC against the US dollar, let's see what's going on. Because this is a lovely looking bottom, isn't it? I think it is. That's my dog snoring, by the way, it's not me. Okay. Now, where's our first resistance going to come in this RLC chart? A little bit higher at 0.8066. That's our first resistance. And look how this 236 fib lines up with these lows here as well. So there's lots of resistance. So if you're long RLC against the dollar, watch out for a reversal at 0.8066. And this will be like Bitcoin. This will be another one of these levels that when you get above this level, if we can, This should then be support, and we carry on higher. It's a big deal level in RLC. Okay, what's another one we got asked to look at? We're going to take a look at BCC. Let's see what BCC is doing. What's BCC? Do you mean Bitcoin Cash? You asked for BCC. Oh, BTT, doesn't it? BTT. Let's look at BTT Bitcoin first. Okay. We'll start with a daily coin for this one, because this one looks pretty flat to me. The last couple of days we've been pretty flat in Bitcoin. In fact, today's a perfect doji, open, close. The good news about that is, again, if we look at this against US dollar, you will have gained in value in BTT. Oh, BTT on Binance, yeah. I don't trade this. Never traded this one. BTT. Okay. This is another good example of what I mean about a market going sideways and becoming a sideways range. Look, here we got a double top, a double bottom. We had our sideways range. You very often don't know which way you're going to break out. We could have turned and carried on higher very easily here in BTT. We didn't. We broke down. And here we are, you know, headed lower in this one, unfortunately. No reason. I've got no reason or no fib level to want to buy this yet. Unfortunately, in Binance, BTT against Bitcoin. But let's take a look at US dollar or Tether. Because, this, again, you know, if you have a flat day against Bitcoin, when Bitcoin goes on the rampage, you go on the rampage too. And that's exactly what's happened here in BitTorrent. Big day in Bitcoin, and this is a close above the daily 50 moving average. We haven't done that since we had a moving average in this coin, so that's pretty good. Very good. Because if we can close here, that will be support. Okay, so we're looking for 75.90 first resistance, and this 50 moving average to be support. See how here, resistance, 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 resistance becomes support. That's what should happen here at that daily 50 moving average. If we're going to stay bullish, we shouldn't go back below it. So I'm going to mark it like this if I was trading it. And then if I was looking for this on a lower time frame, I'm looking for this level to hold, not close back below it, and carry on higher. Okay. Okay. So Ryan says you've got a position in Pundi. It's been losing against Bitcoin big time. Yeah, Pundi. Let's see if I've got Pundi here. It has been losing against it. But what's it doing against the US dollar? I don't even like to be honest, I don't like charting Pundi against Bitcoin because it's such chunky, fat tick moves, isn't it? Let's see what it's doing against the US dollar, though. This is calculated by Trading View because I don't think you can trade it. But you know what? You're not losing money, are you? You're not really losing money in Pundi. It'd be very good to see this. This is the 236 fib level again, where we've got a bit of trouble here. See this horizontal level? That's the level that we need to get above. That and the 200-day. Oops, let me... You know, it's very easy when you're trading this and you look at the chart against Bitcoin and you can get quite suicidal and think, oh my God, how much money have I lost? And you really haven't. You know, it's just Bitcoin on the rampage. Pundi, I think, above 74,387 against the US dollar, that'd be a decent move. This is the 200-day moving average again. then we could see another, move here going on in Pundi. So you're not actually, luckily, losing a ton, unlike some coins. Hello, Andreas. I would like to look at Nano. See if I've got Nano here. 1 second. We might have Nano. Ooh, look at Nano, lost that support as well. Back again at the lows, We made a new low in Nano, and I thought I forgave it because we had such a rapid rally that came back and recovered the support level. See this support level that comes all the way from November. But today, it looks like we're going to close underneath it, and that's not very good. Because if we do, then tomorrow, if you've got some of this, you're going to want to watch to see if we can get back above this level. 2226 in Nano. And if we can't, we're headed lower. So this will be your resistance. If you've got some of this, and then we rally here, and then we roll over again, that's your sell setup. Go to something else. If we can get back above it and we hold this level of support, hooray, we've saved the day and we're staying in a sideways range. But that's going to become pretty key for Nano. Bitcoin. Nano dollar, probably not bothered, but let's see. Not bothered at all, Nano dollar, is it? Look, all the way up there. So it's just, this is what I mean. You're making money in Nano dollar. You had a huge up day, very nice. But Bitcoin is king at the moment. That's all there is to it. Bitcoin is king. Raven, Dubravko, hello. I'm not sure if I've got Raven here. Here we go. Hello, my boy Tony. Now, Raven coin. This is really, I had really high hopes that Raven coin would hold the 200-day moving average. But if it didn't, especially when we look at this, these fib levels have been really well respected in Raven coin. So the 50%, it bounced and then it became resistance. This 618, it bounced off it. Look, and then the next day when we got underneath it was resistance. So I'm thinking that we've got to hit this 786 next before we can rally. So what I'm looking for in Raven, Bitcoin, is a turnaround around 578. That's the level, 578. And I think that then it will be a really good buy back above that 200 moving average. So we need to be a little bit patient and let this play out. But if we can bounce from 578 and get back above the 200 moving average again, which is at 637, then I think that we should have a reversal we can buy. But for now, got to let it do its thing. It's not quite done yet. Raven against Bitcoin, dollar. We can only just measure it on TradingView. Looks fine, doesn't it? Like that's an hourly. This is a nice gentle pullback after a big uptrend. No worries really in this one, is there? Let's see where we are in terms of our pullback. Holding this 50% retrace level. We've had a week at this level. It's time we found support soon, I think, in Raven. So yeah, you haven't lost any load of money being in Raven. I think a little bit lower and we should find some support, but not yet. So here we are watching, see if we can break new highs in do you know that I've been mostly in ETH because I was really thinking that ETH would start to outperform. And yeah, I agree with you. I think we should see a move in ETH next, the next big move. And what's the question? Can I look at Litecoin dollar Is it a big cup and handle? Okay. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of cup and handle patterns, to be quite honest. I think it's almost better as an inverted head and shoulders pattern, but they're even in terms of time, but not very even in terms of price. So this swing high here, like that. Now, if that's true, so how many days was this left shoulder? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4. We really need to break out tonight or tomorrow, or this kind of isn't really very balanced. But yeah, otherwise, cup and handle, yes. I can see that definitely. So now, as you know, I draw my fibs. There's two ways I put my fibs on. So I'll do the whole swing, the whole sequence, like this, okay? And then I usually do the most recent swing lower. And so what you can see here, if we do the most recent swing lower, and 50% is always a big deal for me. So here in Litecoin, we're very nearly, in fact, in some exchanges, this 50% may be a little bit. So watch out for a little bit of a false break higher, especially with, see these lows here and highs? There's kind of a lot of confluence of resistance, if you like, for Litecoin here. High, low, high, and this level. But yeah, in terms of charts, Litecoin was the leader. Litecoin, you know, in terms of this whole rally, was the leader. And I think it's a great looking chart. So, but yeah, big cup and handle. If it is, then, you know, whatever, here's a good rule of thumb about sideways patterns. So whether you do a double bottom or a just sideways consolidation or a head and shoulders pattern, the rule for the pattern target is the same. So whether it's a head and shoulders or it's a cup and handle, our target for a breakout here is the same price. It's 178 and this high here. So whatever we call it, we've got the same setup and the same breakout pattern and the same kind of target. So good luck in that. Just for fun, can we look at Uber? Yeah. Okay, here we go. Here's a cool trick. Let's see if that's going to work today. Don't know if it will. It might do. So here was our opening rally. Let's see if we hit fib 2.24. Cool. So there's a kind of good rule about gaps. I like to see gaps filled really quickly or they become resistance and you won't fill them. So unless we fill this gap in Uber quite quickly, that gap will be resistance for quite a long time. At 39. So Uber. We are starting to see a bounce, so we'll do the same rule, okay? So we'll say more than a 236 fib and we've got a reversal going on here. And we'll do the 38.2. So 38.27 is resistance. And then, yeah, I don't think we go into the gap. I think probably we'll struggle there, but let's see. Poor old Uber. Strong late day rally. Okay. Thanks for coming, everybody. See you next week. So let's keep looking at this Bitcoin strength and then looking for it to spread out into the bigger coins first. Monero, Dash, Ripple, ADA maybe, Litecoin. Those will be the ones that should follow on rally first. Bitcoin Cash, ABC especially, It's well set up against Bitcoin. Look how strong it's been against Bitcoin. All of these ones that have been pretty strong against Bitcoin, people will look to move money into them, I think, when Bitcoin takes a bit of a breather. But if it's Wednesday when Binance is reopening, yeah, let's watch out. The urge to take profit, the urge to take profit in people is really, really strong. Like, I find, especially new traders, they're endlessly patient with their losers and they can't wait to take profit in winners. So the weekly broccoli face, the weekly motto is good, but not as good as Bitcoin. And carnage. Yeah, that's true. Okay, good night, everyone. Thanks for coming.